Calling Dr. Red Flag. Please report to the front desk. The doctor is ready to see you now.
Dr. Red Flag here with another message of how we can learn and grow together and notice and pay attention to the red flags. So, today's a great topic, and it is when the hustle comes first. The psychology of money-driven partners and the red flags to watch. Ambition is not the problem. Work ethic is not the problem. But when money, status, and constant hustling become the center of someone's identity, it can begin to replace emotional connection. From a psychological standpoint, what people call money-hungry behavior is often tied to over-identification with achievement, where self-worth is measured primarily through productivity, income, and external success. This is sometimes reinforced by extrinsic motivation, meaning the person is driven by rewards like money, recognition, or status, rather than internal fulfillment of relational connection. So why does this happen? For some individuals, it stems from a scarcity mindset, a belief that there is never enough, often rooted in past instability or financial insecurity. For others, it's connected to conditional self-worth. They don't feel valuable unless they are producing, earning, or advancing. So they stay in motion, constantly working, constantly chasing, because slowing down can trigger discomfort, feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, or loss of control. In some cases, this pattern also functions as avoidant coping. Focusing on work becomes a way to avoid emotional vulnerability, intimacy, or relational responsibility. It's easier to succeed, in business than to navigate emotional depth. So, how does this show up in relationships is the question. This is where the imbalance begins, because while one partner is seeking connection, presence, and emotional consistency, the other is prioritizing productivity and external gain. And over time, the relationship becomes secondary. So what are the red flags? Pay attention to chronic unavailability. They're always working, always busy, always building something, but rarely present. Notice if quality time feels like an interruption to their schedule rather than a priority. Another red flag is transactional thinking. They may measure value, including people, based on what they provide, contribute, or enhance. Conversations may center heavily around money, success, or advancement, while with little depth in emotional areas. Also observe their response to emotional needs. If you express the need for connection, reassurance, or time, do they dismiss it, minimize it, or redirect back to work? They can indicate that could indicate emotional unavailability. Another key indicator is future-focused deflection. They may say, I'm doing this for us. Once I reach this goal, things will be different. But that later never fully arrives because the drive itself is ongoing. There's always another goal, another level, another target. From a psychological perspective, this creates a dynamic where the relationship lacks emotional reciprocity. One partner invests emotionally, while the other invests primarily in external pursuits. So how does this affect long-term stability? A relationship requires presence, attunement, and emotional responsiveness. Without those, it may function, but it will not be fulfilling. Unless both individuals share the same value system where success and financial growth are prioritized over emotional connection. But if one person desires depth, consistency, and emotional availability, and the other is driven primarily by external achievement, there will be a mismatch. Not because either person is wrong, but because their core motivations are different. This is what I call unequally yoked. So how do you recognize this early? Watch, not just what they say, but what they consistently prioritize. Notice where their time, energy, and attention go, because that reflects their true values. And understand this: you cannot compete with someone's core identity. If their identity is built around constant pursuit, you will always feel secondary to that pursuit. And that's the red flag. Not that they are driven, but that there is no space left for emotional connection within that drive. Awareness allows you to make a decision to align or to step back, because a fulfilling relationship is not built on potential, it's built on consistent present behavior. Well, that's the message for today. Don't forget it. Dr. Red Flag signing out, and pay attention to the red flags.